What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about my predictions for UFC 326, breaking down each fight. And I think this is a great card. I think there's going to be a lot of fun fights, a lot of underdog upsets. That is what I'm calling for. We'll get to those later. And I think there's going to be a lot of finishes. I said that last time with UFC Mexico Fight Night. So, knock on wood. But to be honest, like, dude, if you were casual, you might think, oh shit, dude, if it's not a knockout, if it's not a submission, it's not good. Let's be honest, man. The real hardcore fans, our favorite fights are the ones that are like WMMA fights. They're like sparring sessions. They're slow. We love those. The hardcore fans love. Nah, I'm just joking. But I don't care if it doesn't end in a finish as long as it's a good fight. Some blood. As long as it's like a barn burner. Good scrap, you know what I mean? But let's get right into it with the first fight. Luke Fernandez versus Rodolfo Bellato. Luke Fernandez, this is his UFC debut, coming off a Contender Series knockout against Rafael Pergentino. He's also got a win against Christian Edwards and Greg Illis. I think he fought for LFA. But another thing is that I think it's going to become really important in this fight. He has some decent wins in grappling matches. I low-key forget. Fuck, I just looked at this shit. Who did he beat in grappling? It's gonna come back to me. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't believe it's gonna come back to me. Hold on. Is a middleweight. Phil Hawes. He submitted Phil Hawes. Yes. Okay, I remember now. And I think he did another one against Eric Anders, middleweight. Yeah, so he had two grappling matches. I think it was a decision win over against Eric Anders, who's a middleweight right now in the UFC. Classic vet. And against Phil Hawes, I think is his most recent one. And I think he submitted him. I forget with what. Maybe a Dars Anaconda. I forget. But Rodolfo Bellato, on the other hand, coming off a loss to Navajo Sterling, which is not that bad. Not that bad. Navajo Sterling is one of my favorite prospects right now. I think he's going to do great in the sport. He's supposed to fight against Mario Lopez. Is that his name? I forget his name. Lopez is his last name. But lost against Navajo. Had that classic no contest against Paul Craig. That shit was funny. To this day, I don't know whether to believe him that he was out and just woke up or he was acting. I don't know. It looks really weird. But then he had a draw against Jimmy Crute, which is, I don't know how I feel. Jimmy Crute is not, he's a mid fighter. He's better than, some of these light heavyweights. Definitely can beat him. Just had a brutal rear naked choke submission. But a draw, I don't know. It's I think Rodolfo Bellato is just like Jimmy Crute, but Jimmy Crute's better by a tad bit. He's a mid fighter. Luke Fernandez, I actually would buy into his stock. You know what I mean? I think he's a good prospect, honestly. So that's why I'm gonna pick him by round 2 TKO. I think Bellato is good enough and has a pretty good chin. Bellato actually fought Vitor Petrino twice. I found that out. Petrino beat him in a pro fight in a different organization, and then for the Contender Series, they rematched and beat him, and Bellato lost to him too, which is weird. But yeah, I think Bellato is good enough to not get KO'd in the first round. And then Fernandez, like I said, he has good grappling, so I think he's maybe going to try to grapple in the first round and then eventually get him down. And he has good ground and pound. So I think he's going to TKO him in the second, maybe starting off with an elbow. On to the next one. Lee Jong-yong versus Gaston Bolanos. This is Lee Jong-yong. Not bad. His two most recent losses against Daniel Santos and Haider Emil, those aren't bad losses, honestly. Those are Haider Emil, yeah, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, but he's pretty good. Gaston Bolanos just lost to Kwang Lee. Won against, this is the craziest name. Cortavious how do you pronounce that? Ramius. I want to pronounce it Romulus, like Cortavious Romulus, but I don't think it's that. But and then he lost against Marcus McGee, which is not a bad loss. Marcus McGee is good. When the fuck is he gonna fight again? Anyways, and then lost against Kwang Lee, which is not a good win. Yeah, Kwang Lee knocked out Santiago Luna, a good prospect. But I think that was just octagon jitters. But honestly, they're both not bad fighters. Both have good, decent grappling, but I actually think Lee Jung Young has better grappling, and that's why I actually pick him to do a 29-28 decision. I think maybe Gashon could beat him in the first round, get a 10-9. You know, why am I saying Gashon? This guy's fucking Ilia Topuria. No, but I'm gonna still stick with my decision, 29-28. I think maybe Young finds some success with the grappling in the first round, but still loses. Maybe finds some success with the grappling later in the first round, and then just sticks to that game plan and wins via that. Maybe a knockout, who knows? But yeah, okay. On to the next one. Rafael Tobias versus Dr. Nurgazie. Rafael Tobias coming off a Contender Series win over Yad de Oliveira. I'm not even gonna. I literally had to put the third guy. I forget what it is, but I had to literally just do it off of the first letters because his name is so fucking long to the point where if I put his full name, it would be reaching DR, which is crazy. But decent Contender Series, decent Contender Series win. The guy he beat, he's a good fighter, mid, I guess. But DR lost against Brendanson Ribeiro, which is not a good look. I'm not gonna lie, it is not a good look. Ribeiro, not that good of a fighter at all. Then lost by Ezekiel choke to Uran Satibaldiev, which is interesting. Not that good of a look either. But that's actually why I have him for a round 2 submission. I think DR is strong enough to hold off on the first round. Maybe he gets taken down, defends the submissions, doesn't get TKO'd. But in the second, I think Tobias knocks him down, left hook, right hook maybe, and then submits him. Maybe by rear naked choke. I could see an arm triangle. I'm getting visions of an arm triangle scenario. Locks it in, makes him tap. Yeah, I have Tobias by round 2 submission. Sumerdarji versus Jesus Aguilar. This is the start of what I said earlier. How about there's a lot of upsets, some upset dogs on the card, and this is the first one. Sumerdarji coming off a win over Kevin Borjas and a win over Mitch Raposo. Dude, I'm fucking stupid sometimes. I'm sorry. Don't say anything about it. I can't pronounce names for the life of me. Loss against Charles Johnson, which is not a bad loss. Everybody knows Charles Johnson is pretty good. Now that I think about it, since he lost, I should pick him because he's probably going to be the next champ. Just like Loner Kavanaugh, just like Joshua Van. Everyone who loses to Charles Johnson usually goes on a massive run. Jesus Aguilar just won against Luis Gurul, lost against Rafael Estevam, and a win over Stuart Nickel. That loss against Rafael Estevam is not that bad, really. Estevam is facing, what's his first name? Ewing, the guy who beat Malcolm Wellmaker. He's undefeated in the UFC, so that's not a bad loss. And then a win over Luis Gurul. That's not bad. We just saw Lewis lose against what's his name? Oh my god, dude, I'm forgetting names and I can't pronounce names. Holy shit. But that's not a bad loss, honest. I mean, that's not a terrible win. That's not a good win. It's a mid win. On the record, Sumerdarji definitely has a better record, But I'm actually going to go with a round 2 submission by Aguilar. Sumerdarji, he's not the best grappler. He went to a split decision with Mitch Raposo, who's not that good. And Mitch took him down like 6 times. And I think Aguilar has better grappling. So I think that's going to be where it is. I think Sumerdarji probably takes the first round, and then Aguilar takes him down in the second, wears him down, and then maybe finds a rear naked choke. Maybe Sumerdarji like shoots. I don't really see him shooting. But yeah, I have him as a round 2 submission. Then we get to yes, Cody Durden versus Niam Jagara Tumendem Borel. I've been practicing saying his last name. Yeah. Listen, man. People Cody Durden. Fuck. He did not just lose to Cody Durden. That's my mistake. He lost to Nasumoto due to a second round submission, if I recall correctly. That's my fault. Then lost to Jose Ochoa, then lost to Joshua Van. Didn't look, Cody Durden's a tough motherfucker. That's what he's known for. He got a submission over Matt Schnell, which is not the best win at all. Decent grappling. And then in the Joshua Van fight, he took so much fucking damage. He's tough, but that fight is like a Tony Ferguson Justin Gaethje fight, like where he's never the same after. Even though Cody Durden's not on the, before that Van fight, is not on the same level as before Tony faced Justin, but it's similar to that because they both took so much fucking damage. And yeah, I think that's going to play a big part. But Tumen Dembarel won over Terrence Satiam, lost to Carlos Hernandez, won over Peter Danisio. Looked decent on the road to the UFC. Decent grappling. I will say it would be alarming if he was facing a guy like Cody Garbrandt, even though I understand two different weight classes. I'm just using him as an example because his hands are super low. Doesn't have a lot of defense. Rushes in sometimes. I do like his trips. He has really good trips. And overall, he's just an explosive guy. Cody Durden, decent grappling. Rushes in too. But like I said, I think the damage he took from the Van fight, I think that forever changed his career. And that's why I have Tumen Dembarel round 1 TKO. Tumen Dembarel, next champ. No, but he is powerful. And I think Durden is just not the way he was. If Durden was the same in the Van fight going against Tumen Dembarel, I would say 30-27 Tumen Dembarel. But still, I mean, even in the Van fight, Durden, I wouldn't say won the first round, but he looked pretty good. Took Van down, controlled him. But Tumen Dem, I'm just going to say that. Tumen Dem has decent grappling. So even if Durden takes him down, I think he's going to get back up. He's explosive. But yeah, I have him as a round 1 TKO winner. On to the next one. Dude, this shit was hard trying to get a prediction because this is a hard fight to predict. Ricky Turcio versus Alberto Montes. Ricky Turcio coming off a loss against Bernardo Sopage, who I think is really good. Even though he lost to Vinicius Oliveira, I think he's a good prospect still. Lost against Raul Rosas Jr. Yeah, didn't look too bad in that fight. I'll give him that. He arguably won the first round. Almost submitted Raul, which it's like, here's the thing. Almost submitting Raul, does that look good for Ricky or does that look bad for Raul? You know what I mean? Like, or both, who knows? But Ricky Turcios won the Ultimate Fighter. This guy is I will say this guy's a dog. I'd say he's mid everywhere, but his gas tank is amazing. He just pushes the pace no matter what. He always goes in, always tries to do something. Even when he's taken down on the back, on his back, he's throwing up elbows, throwing up ground and pound off of his back. He's always staying busy. This guy's a dog. Alberto Montez getting it was a arm triangle win over a guy on the contender series called Carlos Cardona, which is not bad. Not a bad win at all. Yeah, this guy also looks like Ilya Taporia, which is funny. Two guys. But I will say this, Tercio has a sneaky win. A lot of people don't know this, over Steve Garcia, honestly. But Alberto Montez, decent striking, no power at all. I don't even think he has stud, to be honest. His grappling is his forte. He has really good grappling. A lot of his wins outside the UFC have come from submissions. Don't really know how his gas tank is in the third round, and that's actually why I'm going to pick Tercio 29-28 decision. I think maybe Montez controls him in the first round, but maybe even cuts him. Maybe I would say even if Montez takes him down, I think Tercio, like I said, he's busy on the ground, busy off his back. I think maybe he cuts Alberto and just rags him down. Ricky has fucking amazing cardio. So I think he's going to lose the first round and then take the second and third. Or maybe we see a third round TKO, or maybe a 29-28 for Montez. Who knows? But I just think Ricky Tercio is going to get it done. And I will say this. If Ricky Tercio loses, he's getting cut. Same with Cody Durden. So back to back, we got guys fighting for their UFC career. If either one of them loses and they don't get cut, I'll honestly be surprised. I would be more surprised at Cody Durden losing and not getting cut than Tercio, because Tercio's lost to decent competition. And so is Cody Durden, but that guy, he's on like a 4-fight losing streak. Anyways, next up, Dante Johnson versus Cody Brundage. I think this is pretty easy. Dante Johnson coming off a win against Cedric Dumas. It was a round to, a guillotine. I think Cedric Dumas, if I remember correctly, just fed him the guillotine, just didn't want to be in there. Contender series knockout against a guy named Darian Abbey. Then outside the UFC, James Ford. Cody Brundage, this guy's got a weird thing. Loss against Cam Ralston. Loss against, got KO'd. And that was actually, a month ago? UFC 325. Not that good of a look. Split decision loss against Eric McConico, which is all right. I'm pretty sure Eric took that on short notice too, which makes it even worse. A no contest against Mansour Abdul Malik, my fault, which is he got like TKO'd because of a headbutt. It's weird. He's got a couple no contests. What's the no contests is? There you go. Yeah. Jesus fuck, I'm stupid. But yeah, I just think Brundage is taking these fights to get money. Really, this is another short notice fight for him. Just coming off a KO loss. And Dante Johnson, he's a good prospect. Grappling is really good. He's got power in his hands. He can strike, he can grapple, etc. I think Cody Brundage survives the first round. I'm going with Johnson, pretty obvious, but I think Brundage survives the first round. I think he's tough enough to survive it. He goes in there swinging. And then eventually, I think Johnson in the second round just finds the good shot. Maybe Brundage gets dropped in the first round but survives. But eventually, just Johnson finds maybe like an uppercut or a left hook when Brundage is charging in like he usually does, and then gets TKO'd. I think this is a pretty easy win, just like the Cedric Dumas. Don't give a huge layup for Johnson. Build him up. And then, I think he's a really good prospect. Next up. Here we go, baby. Here we go. Cody Garbrandt title run starts now. It starts now. Here we go. Cody Garbrandt lost against Ronnie Barcelos, which is not bad. Barcelos, pretty sure he's getting a top 15 opponent next fight. I forget who. Montel Jackson. I think that's rumored. Loss against Davison Figueiredo. That was Figgy when he was still, good, when he wasn't washed. And then a win over Brian Kelleher, which is Xiao Long coming off a loss against Seong Young Yu, a win over Kwang Lee, and a loss against Chan Ho Lee. Not bad. Kwang Lee win. Kwang Lee is mid. So actually mid win. Then he lost both of them to really not good opponents, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, title run starts now. I think Cody KOs him. I really do. Yeah, I get it. I know Cody is a guy with a questionable chin. It's a really 50-50 fight. They both got power and interesting defense at times. Cody, has his hands low, but sometimes I think Long has his hands down lower, to be honest. And that's what I'm going off. There was this one fight, I forget what it was, but the guy got Long down, Xiao Long, and in the second round, he feinted a takedown, and Xiao bit on that feint hard, and then I think he got knocked down or ate a really big right hand. But so I think that's what Cody should do. If it's not just by speed, Cody I think is faster than Xiao. I think Cody should wrestle and then eventually just feint the takedowns. I think that would be really good. I think that sets up the left hook, right hand, whatever. But I think Cody's still fast for his age. It's really a 50-50 fight, man. It sucks. I like Cody. But, yeah, title run starts now. On to the main card. Gregory Rodriguez versus Bruno Ferreira. Listen, Gregory Rodriguez win over Roman Kopylov, which it's mid. It's good. Roman is a good fighter. That win over Jack Hermanson is not a good win, honestly. Is it though? Because Hermanson is crafty. He's a crafty vet. Got a win over Joe Pyfer, but then lost to Maitek Orabai. Why the fuck did he go to welterweight? Honestly, what the fuck did he think was gonna happen? He was gonna become the GOAT of the welterweight division. What are you doing, Jack? But then he lost against Jared Cannonier. Was winning the fight in the first round, knocked Jared down, and then eventually kind of, I wouldn't say gassed, but it was very obvious he was tired. Then eventually Jared landed a really good elbow right before the round ended, and then Rodriguez was just on wobbly legs in the next round and then got TKO'd. Bruno Ferreira coming off a win against Marvin Vettori. Decision, of course. No one's ever knocking out Marvin Vettori. A quick sub win over Jackson McVeigh, which is not. I know Zachary Reese just beat him, but he had some trouble in that fight against McVeigh. He was getting busted up by some elbows. So I wouldn't say Jackson McVeigh is a really bad opponent. I think he's mid. But I do think the dominance in the way Bruno won that, it was a super easy, quick armbar. That looks good. Then a win over Armin Petrosian. That was that a triangle? I think, no, not yeah, I think it was an arm triangle. Pretty sure. Yeah, it was a submission. That's not a totally bad win. Armin, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly. Dude, I know I'm saying if I remember correctly a lot. Don't yell at me. But no, I'm pretty sure Rodriguez lost to Armin earlier in his career. But that doesn't take into I'm not taking that into consideration. But honestly, my prediction is around 1 KO. They fought before. Bruno got that win with it was like feints and shit and just good head movement. Knocked Rodriguez stiff. And I think it's going to be similar to that fight. I really do. Bruno has really good head move. Not really good head movement. He has really good footwork. He's light on his feet. I don't think Bruno should throw high kicks. He threw a lot against Marvin Vettori. Didn't really do shit. I just think that's bad. I think they both have a good chin. But I think Bruno just has, he just has the better footwork. And I think that's going to be really good against RoboCop. Maybe I could see a round 2 KO. This is another underdog pick, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I think it's just going to be similar. I don't think Rodriguez has evolved that much. I think he would have always beat Roman. I think he definitely would have always beat Jack Hermanson. But yeah, I think Bruno just wins that. On to the next one. Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson. Drew Dober coming off a win against Kyle Prepelic. Not good. That is not a good win. That shit was weird. There was a whole like cup problem. Like Dober, I think it was like a body kick that went right onto Prepelic's nuts, and that didn't look that good. But took him to the third round, I'm pretty sure, which is also not that good because Kyle Prepelic is not a good fighter. Yeah, maybe he's tough, but still, yeah, he's not a good fighter. Loss against Manuel Torres, which is not bad. Manuel Torres is good. Then a loss against Jane Silva. I don't think that deserves, not deserves. I don't think that needs an explanation. Jane Silva is really good. Michael Johnson win over Daniel Zellhuber. I would say that is. I used to say that's a pretty good win, but now I think that's a mid win. We just saw Zellhuber got knocked out by Bobby Green, but Johnson took him to a decision, knocked him down still, but the Bobby Green, he had a better performance against Zellhuber, which is crazy. Win over Otman Zatar, that's mid. A win over Darius Flowers, that's mid too. But honestly, I gotta go with a round 1 TKO for Johnson. I don't see this going the distance, but here's the thing. Dober's biggest weakness, they both have power. The biggest weakness for Dober is speed. We saw it with the Manuel Torres fight. We saw it with the Gene Silva fight. He was getting outpunched because of the speed. He has a problem with guys that punch faster and shit. And I think Michael Johnson, he's up there in age, but he's still so fucking fast. And I think that's what's going to get him the TKO. Honestly, I think it's just going to come all the way down to speed. Oh, but Dober never loses to black guys. Okay, shut the fuck up. You may have got me there. No. I just think Johnson's going to win. Continue the 4-fight win streak against, I think just Dober's washed. Not yeah, I think he's washed. I think those knockouts, the knockout against Torres was really bad. And then his performance against Prepelic didn't, that wasn't that good. But yeah, I think it's going to be super entertaining. So I'm excited for that. But round 1 TKO for Johnson. On to Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr. Here we go. I had to sit. Oh, my phone fell. I have to sit up for this shit. Rob Font just lost against David Martinez. Not a bad loss. David Martinez is good. Win over Gene Matsumoto. That's not a bad win. I think that's a good win. Gene Matsumoto, even though he just lost to Farid Basharat, I think Gene's still a good fighter. Win over Kyler Phillips, that's mid. Maybe like a tier above mid, okay? But Rob Font, he's underrated, okay? I really do believe it. That win over Adrian Yanez was, that shit was slick. Raul Rosas Jr., win over against Vince Morales. I'm not even going to fucking try to pronounce that guy's name. Ari Qualia. Fuck. And then a win over Ricky Turcio. His best win is over Ricky Turcio. So that's saying something. All of his other wins are not the best. And with that being said, I just got to go with the classic Font 29-28. Listen, like I said, Font is incredibly underrated. His pressure I think is what's going to, win him the fight. I think Raul gets the first round, but eventually Font puts that pressure back on, and that's what stops Raul from grappling. It's harder to shoot a takedown on the back foot than it is when you're pressuring the other guy and you're shooting the takedown when he's on the back foot. And I think that is the most important thing in this fight. Okay? Rob Font's pressure. And Rob Font, really good boxer. Really good. Raul, I would say he's a mid striker, but he's still young. He's only 19, 20. He still has a lot of years to evolve. And I saw one of his fights. They were talking about, oh, he's so young, he's gonna have to move up at one point. I don't know. Listen, I'm not a human anatomy fucking major, but I don't know if that works like that. But no, he's a good grappler. I'll give him that. He's a good grappler. Can definitely get out grappled. We saw that with Vince Morales. He had I think it was a Darce at the end of the first round, or an anaconda. So he does not have perfect jiu-jitsu. And Rob Font actually has underrated jiu-jitsu. And has good get-ups. So honestly, I think this is a lock in my mind, which is crazy. But yeah, this is a lock. I think Rob Font's good. And I think this is just too much too soon for Raul Rosas Jr., even though I already bitched him out for his past opponents. Yeah. Classic Rob Font underdog pick. On to the co-main event. Kyle Brajado versus Reiner de Ritter. This is a crazy co-main event. Can I just say that? I don't think that's a hot take. But Kyle coming off a loss against Mavov, that's not a bad loss at all. Mavov, pretty sure he's fighting for the title. He's good. Took him to a decision. Didn't get knocked out. Held his own at times. Won against Jared Cannonier. That should have been a TKO, to be honest. He knocked him down brutally. That shit was brutal. But went to a decision. Fuck the ref. Then a win against Paul Craig. Not a good win. Honestly, that's not a good win. RDR. Just lost against Brendan Allen. Quit in the 4th round. It was the 3rd or 4th. But quit. Just gave up on the stool. Oh, he had body health problems. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Quick water break. Get the fuck out of here. I don't believe that shit. He just quit. His cardio was not the best. He won against Robert Whitaker, but definitely gassed out. And then he has actually a good win over against Bo Nickel. You know, I'll give him that. But I think RDR is a bit overrated, to be honest. He got dropped by Robert Whitaker, and Whitaker is not known for his power at all. And that's the thing. Kyle has better power than Whitaker. Maybe not power. He's got really good thud. We saw that with the Jared Cannonier and Paul Craig fight. He's got good thud. And that's actually why I have him for a round 3 TKO. I think RDR might have success in the grappling. But that being said, Kyle has good grappling too. He submitted Mikhail Olivjacek, which is a decent win. Mikhail's looking good now. But he actually does have good grappling. So this is actually an interesting fight in my mind. It's not an easy fight to predict. It's pretty 50-50. But I think Reiner is going to not completely gas like the Brendan Allen fight, but still gas out. And Kyle has good cardio. We saw that with the Amavov fight, with every other fight. He has good cardio. And I think in the 3rd round, I think he's just going to get him. No, I think he's just going to find the button. Pressure is definitely key for Kyle, just like the Rob Font fight. And yeah, I think he's going to find it. Maybe this could go 29-28. Kyle takes the 2nd and 3rd round, but who knows? But I have him as TKO round 3. And okay, here we go. The main event. Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. Dude, this honestly might be main event of the year for me. This is going to be a go-to fight. This is the fight that gets introduced into the Hall of Fame, the Fight Hall of Fame wing in like a couple of years. That's what it has written all over it. Max Holloway, there's no introduction needed for these guys. These guys are fan favorites. Max Holloway just got a win in the trilogy against Dustin Poirier. Looked really good. Loss against Ilia Topuria. That's not bad at all. It's not even close to bad. And then a complete dismantlement against Justin Gaethje, which has gotten better because Gaethje just beat Patty. Charles Oliveira just subbed Gamrot. Really good performance. Lost to Ilya, brutal KO, and then a win over the Michael Chandler rematch. I'm not going to say anything. I love Olives. I'm not going to dismiss that win. Actually I am. Why the fuck was that a rematch? Anyways, I think this is really interesting. We've never really seen Holloway against a grappler like this. Brian Ortega is not on the same level as Oliveira, really. Olives has decent striking, not bad striking at all. Knocked out Michael Chandler. Of course, his bread and butter is the grappling, and he's also an underrated wrestler. But still, I think Max Holloway is going to put him out. I think Holloway is going to be able to get up and also stuff the takedowns. And the biggest tool, this is the key for Holloway, right? In the Poirier fight, dude, that right cross to the body was super, super nice. And I think that is the key. Because against a grappler, low jabs and low crosses, those are really good in preventing a takedown. You know what I mean? And I think that's going to be one of the key weapons for Holloway to eventually TKO him in the fourth. I see a lot of people saying in the third. Yeah, that's a really high possibility, but I think it's even a higher possibility of him putting him out in the fourth round. I think the body shot's going to be really good. They both have great cardio, but I think Holloway is just going to wear him down. And like I said in my hot take fights, in my hot take video, Holloway, in my mind, is the biggest challenge for Ilia Topuria at lightweight. Because Holloway, coming up to lightweight, it's kind of been a trade-off. He's lost his chin. And I wouldn't say completely. He still has a great chin. He still took a lot of punches out of Dustin and shit. But it seemed to have kind of decreased a bit. Albeit with the Dustin Poirier knockdown in the trilogy in that fight, it hit him in the exact spot Topuria hit him, and it was like the equilibrium, and that's probably his weakness with hits. But I just don't see Olives getting that. I don't see him knocking him out. I think here we go. I think Max Holloway TKOing Charles Oliveira is a higher possibility than Charles Oliveira submitting Max Holloway. I honestly do. And I think a lot of people will agree with me. I think this is not going to be an easy fight for either of them. I think this is going to be a war. It's going to be a banger. Everyone's excited. I'm excited. But yeah, I just see Holloway putting him out in the fourth round. I don't see the first fight. I didn't look at that fight at all because it was like a doctor stoppage. So it doesn't really mean anything. But I think Holloway is just better right now. I'm not saying Oliveira is washed. He's not washed. That win against Gamrot is super good. I could maybe see Oliveira winning the first and second round, and then eventually Holloway finding his distance, being able to stuff the takedowns, finding his rhythm and shit, get him in the rhythm. I think that's gonna be super good, and I think his pressure against pressure against Charles, that's gonna be another key weapon to eventually dismantling him. So yeah, those are my predictions for UFC 326. I low-key don't want to watch the main event because I love both of them. It's gonna suck watching either one of them win because I know the other one lost. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people feel the same way. But yeah, my 326 predictions. There you go. Couple underdog picks, couple locks. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if you guys disagree with any of my takes and my predictions. Come back to this video and tell me, give me a little shout out if I got any of these perfect. I doubt it. I'm not the best at predicting like the ways of people winning. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the recap on Sunday. That's gonna be, dude, I'm just so excited for this event. That's gonna be a banger. Main event of the year. I'm predicting it now. This is gonna be in the Hall of Fame fighter wing in a couple of years. Hold me to it. I don't care. All right, guys. I'll see you guys later. Bye.